Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
Road2Ruta.com. Silver jumped back up a bit. Gives us more credence to the theory that the latest slam, official slam of the price of silver and gold was 100% related to the Fed interest rate discussion they're having today. Because silver and gold have been tamped down, they obviously there's no problem with inflation or the no problem with subtracting another 25 basis points or maybe even 50 basis points from the Fed lending rate. So everything's hunky-dory. Obviously, silver and gold told the story and blah, 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 blah. It's all bullshit. 100% bullshit. They rigged the price lower, so then when gold and silver do take off, they'll take off from a lower position. How many times have we seen it? Every time. It happens every time the Fed's going to cut rates a decent amount at the wrong time. And we're at all-time highs for the stock market. We're in bubble land of bubble lands. So we can't be bubble land in gold and silver and the Fed dropping interest rates. It just can't be done. So they click a couple mouse clicks, boom, boom, boom. Let's bring the price of silver down to $45, which they did. Bring the price of gold under $3,000, which they did. And voila, we can give our rate cut today. So the rate cut comes out at 2 o'clock Pacific time. And it'll be a quarter point. If it's a half point, either way, it doesn't matter. Then they'll do whatever they need to do to get things under control in gold and silver. They might allow it to go up. They might tamp it a little more. I don't know. The reality is it doesn't matter. This is fake trading on fake markets. The revelation, let's call it the biggest revelation in the last 50 years for silver has been over the last month. We have found out that they're out of physical silver. They can play all the games they want on the derivative side, on the Comex. When you see the price, that's the derivative price. But they can't play the games when people start saying, oh my God, I don't have the silver to make my products. Oh my God, I don't have silver in my own possession if the system falls apart. Anybody holding mining shares now, you are risking everything. Absolutely everything. There will be nationalization, obviously. There will be confiscation. I don't think the U.S., the obvious places to confiscate metal are the Comex warehouses, the LBMA warehouses, SLV inventories, which is the same, basically. And yeah, that'll happen, I believe. I don't think the U.S. is going to go back to any kind of attempt to nationalize gold, probably gold mines, and maybe silver mines as well. So I would not, there's no reason to be risking all this hard work you put in over the years to watch silver go up and then all of a sudden understand that you're not in the right investment type. You have to have metal in your own possession at this point. And what will kind of put for a long time I've looked at this because I was a big silver and gold mining share holder back in the early 2000s. Because the reason is obvious. The metal in the ground is so cheap compared to the price of the stock. But there's a whole bunch of risk when it comes to mining. Will they get it out? Blah 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 blah. But the reality, the biggest risk is if you think the banking system is not long for this world, which I don't think, which I think is probably the likely scenario, is they're going to take down the banking system before the 4th of July, the big party that Trump is planning. If Trump doesn't do it, no one will ever do it. So you might as well do it now. Yes, they can rig the game to infinity, but that's the thing. The U.S. doesn't want to do that. And the reason they don't want to do that is every other country is winning this game. Once they figured out, holy shit, the United States has been rigging the markets for over 50 years with computers and derivatives. Original programs written by Alan Greenspan. And now it's like high frequency trading is ridiculous. They actually sell the right to front run actual trades. The broker gets the trade in before it goes to the exchange. It hits a couple hedge funds. Citadel, and they do their high frequency. They shave pennies off the deals, and it's just insane what was allowed. And you can do that with computers. And the problem is these trades aren't being settled either. So there's a lot of rehypothecation. Anyway, back to where we are. Silver is being allowed to go back up. Great, fine, whatever. I don't like to look at the silver price. I like to look at the gold silver ratio. Gold silver ratio is what, 85 to 1, something ridiculous. Yes, silver and gold will go 1 to 1 at some point, and then they'll flop. They'll go 1 to 10. And that's when the people find out there's very little silver left for the manufacturing side already. And number two, there's massive amounts of gold. I mean, the gold bugs that close their eyes to the amount of gold out there and believe there's only 220,000 tons that have ever been mined in history it's sad. It's lazy. Go read Peggy and Sterling Seagrave's book, Gold Warriors. Get all the data, get all the backup. I did. That's at least half a million tons of gold. 500,000 tons. And that's double what they say there is on the whole planet. And then you go farther down that path, and there's a lot of other secret gold mines. China's been hoarding gold, 2,000 tons a year for the past 30 years. Jim Sinclair pointed this out, and holy crap, what does that mean? 30 times 2,000, where they got 60. Was it 30 times 2,000? Yeah, it's a hell of a lot. 60,000 tons? No, times, 600,000 tons? Who knows? Right? So, yeah. 60,000 tons. My mind is not working right now. 60,000 tons of gold. Yeah, the United States had 49,000 tons of gold in the 40s, and now we have 8. It's bullshit. United States has so much gold. Most of it they just keep in the ground, and they don't tell you about it. Chocolate Mountain in California, that was locked up. All these senators went out there, and it was supposed to be this massive, massive gold find. It's in the military base now and a wildlife preserve, and you're not allowed to touch it. Why would we? We create, little blips out of thin air. We have 14 computers making money out of thin air. Why would we tell the world, oh, by the way, we have a lot of gold? No, the world is taking this fake representation of money. So keep it going until the game ends. And that's where we are. We're at the game ending. So get your physical silver in your own possession. If you're new to silver, it might have been hard to watch. If you watch my channel, you'll understand it's not hard to watch. They can put the price at minus $40. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean you're going to be able to get silver at minus $40. Anybody bought silver under $50 is starting to smile and say, oh my God. Yeah, wait till this rate thing's over, and then we can get back to normal. We are at normal. Normal is slamming the price down. Although it's not slamming it down below the moving averages anymore, which is amazing. Real quick, again, this was 100% Fed rate cut related. That's it. So we're going to continue. We'll go over 50 probably next week, and then go over 60, over 70. And all of a sudden people start asking questions. Well, if the manufacturers in India and China and Russia needed all this metal in October, wouldn't they need it even more in November, and then December, the delivery month? Yes, absolutely. So this is an instant where there was a slam down on the price, except supply didn't change, demand didn't change. What changed is the derivative positioning. And the bad guys were able to get rid of some of their shorts, but not a lot of them. And now we're leveling out. So what happens historically when the Fed drops the rates? Stock market goes up. It's free money. Why wouldn't it go up? Of course, the value of the money goes down, obviously, but the stock market goes up. And that's 90% of what people look at and say, oh, we're doing great. The stock market's up. Just listen to Trump. Everything's great. Stock market's up. Banks are going into the repo world again. Reverse repos have ended. That means the banks are going to the standing repo facility, which means they need cash. And as you can see over the past year and a half, this is 2 years, we're in the red now. So the repos are going to start going crazy because they need cash. The banks are wobbling again at all-time highs. The criminality is shocking. The biggest thing, though, is going to be the derivative bubble popping. Get ready for that one. All right. Where we all are in silver, as you can tell, the old way of doing things, which was slam it below the moving averages keep moving up. I mean, the longer that the price of silver is above the moving averages, they just keep rising. They're currently at $41 and $37. 41 for the 100-day and 37 at the 200-day. I don't think they're going to try to slam below that for quite a while, mainly because of this. India imported 32 million ounces last month. And it was a month where the price is rising. That is unheard of for India to do. They see what's happening. India wants to be as big a solar powerhouse as China is now. China is the mass, solar is everything. Solar has changed the silver world like you would not believe. Even though they're lying to you, Silver Institute and Metals Focus is lying to you about how much silver is being used. It's between 400 and 500 million, not 200 million. Even though they're lying, they can't. The problem with lies in silver is that the ultimate come to Jesus moment is when the manufacturers try to get physical silver and they find out, oh my God, I can't get any. It's delayed for a month, 2 months. What am I going to stop my manufacturing lines? No, what the hell is going on? I'll bid more for it. It doesn't matter how much you bid because on the Comex and the LBMA, it's still not going to get delivery. And you see the leasing rates of silver going through the roof, which is a joke. Leasing silver is ridiculous. You know that at the end, wherever that silver ends up, it's being consumed. So what are you going to do when that lease is up? Now, on the private road, Jenny and I discussed some kind of new contract that they did to get them past this. It was a 1-year extension when they shouldn't have had it. And it could be the rumored 150 million ounces that JP Morgan leased from China. I don't know. But it's not enough. I do know that. 150 million ounces, hell, if they whack it below the moving averages, China will take that up in a second. And so will India. I mean, the banking cabal is just literally on their hands and knees. Now, there's going to be the LBMA will be releasing the data for, this is where we are right now. They have 790 million ounces, supposedly, this is their data, of silver in inventory. The vast majority of that is for ETFs. Yeah, the SLV ETF has... well, that's an interesting thing. Let's look at SLV. SLV supposedly has 488 million ounces in it, supposedly. But here's a thing. These are the shorts for SLV. 84 million ounces are short. The largest short in the history of SLV as of the 15th, right before the slam. So how many were covered? Who knows? Who really knows? The reality is, there's no reason, no viable reason for this kind of shorting activity to go on in a physical ETF. That just means whoever bought the shares don't have the metal associated with it, and that's fraud. But it's allowed. Fraud is allowed if it keeps the ball rolling, right? So that's a shocking number, 84 million ounces short, or shares short. But hey, they're all in on the game, so what does it matter, right? So going back to London, I think on the 15th of next month, they'll post the October, and we should see a decent rise. Now, if JP Morgan did lease 150 million ounces, probably 50 went into industry, and this should go up by 100 million, which should get us to close to 900 million on the LBMA, supposedly. If you look at it, though, I mean, this is the historic. They had 1.2 billion not too long ago, and now it's going up a little, but like right here they had 711. This was I think it's about 6 months ago. 711 million, which is right about where the ETFs are, and the ETFs are rising, believe it or not. Now, where that metal is, this is basically, I'd say 90% ETF. So if they add 100 million ounces, well, that's great. You put it in and it's gone in 2 months. Those of you who don't know, we are currently at one more day of trading for the October contract. This started, I think it was at like 25 million ounces. We're going to end the month at 40 million ounces delivered. 40 million ounces. And you want to know who the shorts were? Just look at who had to provide the metal. Now, Citibank is interesting because they're the naked short for SLV. They need physical. So they took, looks like 5.5 million ounces, which is a rarity. Look at the history of Citigroup. They usually stay pat and let the traders or the controllers over at BlackRock and JP Morgan control what goes in and out of the physical that goes in and out of SLV. But it looks like they had to go in and buy a bunch of contracts. So they took delivery of 5.5 million ounces because they needed to put it in for one of their naked shorts into SLV. Very interesting. So Citibank, if you want your list of bad guys, Citibank. They're also the second or third largest U.S. bank derivative in silver. But they don't do much. And so it's really interesting to see them taking delivery of 5.5 million ounces. That's how stressed Citibank is. Another look at the big guys. JP Morgan Chase, obviously, we all know about. You look historically, JP Morgan Chase has always, in the past like 5 years, taken more than they delivered on their customer side. It's shell customer. It's fake customer stuff. But look what they did this month. They provided about, that's close to 5 million ounces. So they had to go into their own, the JP Morgan customers had to go in their own stockpile. They're always the largest issuer and stopper, which is like the issue means you pay it up, stop means that you're taking it. But this is interesting because it flipped. Things are different. All this stuff is very different. And then you had Scotia. They keep telling me that Scotia's out of the precious metals business, and then here they are delivering 2.5 million ounces. What game were they playing? I guarantee you it was the Bank of America, JP Morgan sublease game of silver. And then here's the big one. Wells Fargo is way over its skis, and had to issue 10 million ounces of silver, and then had to go crawl back during the month about close to 8 million ounces. Wells Fargo, keep that name in your mind, because Wells Fargo used to barely play any of these games, but they were in on the lease game with JP Morgan and Bank of America, so they're having to pony up metal now. So they're in deep shit. Then HSBC is having to take metal. Now HSBC is also the last I heard, and I believe it to be true, is the market maker for the U.S. Mint. And they got 9 million ounces almost. Like, no, that's 7 million ounces. So yeah, that's another big name, HSBC. Historically, all year, look, all they do is issue. All they're doing is ponying up the metal because they're the big backside of that JP Morgan Bank of America deal, and they got to pay back that silver. This month they needed to get some to pay someone else, probably to go over to London. It's crazy, but the names are right here. These are the criminals. If you want to know who should go to jail, these are the criminals. Macquarie, who knows what goes on with them? That's an Australian bank. They're not on the good side. I'll guarantee you that. Back in May, they had to deliver over 11 million ounces. And that's just fraud. I mean, literally, that's just flat out market rigging. Hey, we're going to collude with these other guys because they, JP Morgan runs the show and Virtu Financial is doing all the trading for us. So they just throw their name in the mix to spread it out. So it doesn't look too obvious to the regulators, but we don't have any regulators anymore. Don't you find it interesting that this has happened before, that the regulators aren't reporting data because the government's shut down and it's the most important time to see the data? Crazy, I know. So anyway, that's where we are in silver. Tomorrow is the last day of notification for delivery, and then Friday we have the first notifications for the November contract, which is holding strong. Right now it's at 13 million ounces, which is kind of where we started this month. I think it was a little more this month, not much more. And then during the month, we're going to see that climb and climb and climb. Will it get to the 40 million ounces that we did in this month? Yeah, I can tell you right now what the delivery will be on the last day. It's 33 contracts. Because right here, that's all that's left. So yeah, we will hit. We've already gone by the 40 million if you add the micro contract, which is I think there's 790 deliveries, which is 790 million or that 790,000 ounces, which puts us over the 40 million mark, which is a massive month for silver. 40 million ounces delivered in a non-delivery month is unheard of. And I think we're going to do the same next month. And then December is the big delivery month. So keep the pressure on. As you can tell at close right here. Well, let me look at this real quick here. Let's look where we last left our heroes as far as open interest when they shut down. The last report was September 23rd. And if you can see here, open interest was 166,000 contracts. So they've been able to whittle down, it's about 8. So only 40 million ounces. Only 40 million ounces, which is kind of low for this type of slam. It was a big slam. And they were only able to, close out 40 million ounces, but they probably did do some flips with the hedge funds and the banking cabal. The 4 and 8 big traders probably went long, and now you got some shorts that got a cover on the other side, on the managed money side. So I can't read into it because they haven't updated it since September. So we're kind of flying blind there as far as the Ted Butler analysis, which is the best way to do it. But yeah, that's where we are. If you want more information, go to roadtoroot.com. And as a matter of fact, let's take a look at roadtoroot.com. If you go on the first page, get your name and email address in there, and I give email updates almost daily. There's a good gold to silver ratio price that we should be looking for. For example, available for sale, the gold-silver ratio should be less than 1-to-1. That means silver should be more valuable than gold. And then Comex eligible, it should be 12-to-1. Total in the warehouse, 13-to-1. Annual mine production, 7.5-to-1. I think it's actually 7-to-1. But this was done a while ago. Total identified deposits is 10-to-1. There's no reason that the price ratio is, well, right now it's 85-to-1. There's no reason for it other than market manipulation. So if you just watch that, you will see, especially if you have gold, you should have already swapped all your gold for silver. And if you can do it now, oh my God, 85-to-1, are you crazy? You're insane if you don't. Both because silver is massively undervalued compared to everything, but also because there's massive amounts of gold that will be announced when the system falls apart. So hang in there, guys. Hey, you want to join the private road, check out all the stuff we're doing behind the scenes, go to roadtoroot.com. We're giving away 1 Veritasium token. This is your insurance on all cryptos. Reggie has the license for peer-to-peer capital markets, so most cryptos will have to come to Reggie or just shut down. Sorry. New stuff coming out about the Theta network and potentially working with Tesla. Elon apparently on his third quarter call said, we can link up all the cars together and have all that processing power. I'm like, holy shit. He just described Theta and the Theta edge nodes to the world. And they're all patented, by the way, different types of things. And it solves a lot of the problems of incentives too, because you're going to earn T-fuel by running an edge node on your Tesla or in your robots or any other device that's out there. It is shocking how big Theta and especially Theta Fuel will be in the near future. So go to roadtoroot.com, click on subscribe today, and check out all that info. This is Bix Weir. I'll talk to you.